Hello. All right, so I am going to make a video that's going to help you with that quiz 2.1, and this is going to go over ratios. So let me first go through what in the world is a ratio. A ratio, all we are doing is comparing something to something, and it has a semicolon in it. It can be written like a fraction, but most of the time it's just written with dots, these semicolon here. So all it is we are just comparing a number to a number. Okay, it's just comparing a number to a number. So for example, if I were to tell you that for every one teacher, there are 50 students, that's a ratio. It's a 1 to 50 ratio. Or if I were to say, I don't know, there is 1 month. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a ratio. Okay, I have one cat for every of 2 dogs in my house. So this is my cat, and these are my dogs. So that is a ratio if we were just to compare ratios. So in that the thing, once you know how to set up these numbers, uh, when you set up these numbers, the other thing that you know that you need to know is you can, just like fractions, just like unit rates, you can expand, make them bigger, make them smaller, as long as you do it by the same amount. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So if I have one teacher to every 20 students, okay, so this is teacher and this is students. It says, like, if I have one teacher to every 20 students, how many teachers for 40 students? Okay, so if my new ratio is down here, I all of a sudden am changing to 40 students. So what in the world is happening? Well, if my students, the amount of students doubled, multiplied it by 2, I would need to double my amount of teachers. So there would be 2 teachers for 40 students. It works the very same way as if you were to change a fraction, like simplify a fraction or expand a fraction. You're just doing it in via ratio. Same procedure. So it would work also a little bit if we wanted to make them smaller. So if I told you that my ratio was 4, I don't know, blue stars to, let's pick another color. All right, so there's 4 blue stars to every 5 red stars. Okay. Oh, no, actually, I don't want to use the number 5. My brain's working today, I'm telling you. 4 blue stars to every 16 red stars. Okay. What is another way to write this ratio? So both of these, 4 and 6, have a greatest common factor. They both do. So we need to go ahead and find that GCF, or the factor that goes into both of those numbers. And I know for a fact that both of them can be divided by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So the other way to write blue stars to red stars is a 1 to 4 ratio. It's just simplifying or expanding. So if we were to multiply, that's called expanding. Dividing is simplifying. Just like you would fractions or unit rates, it is all the same. As long as whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I'm going to go into some examples. So in that 2.1 quiz, I'll do a couple of them in this example, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm going to explain number 1. So it says, what is the ratio of green stars to red stars? So if I am doing green stars, I'm counting that there are 4. There are 4 green stars, and there are 6 red stars. So I'm sure you're thinking, okay, well, that is a 4 to 6 ratio. Because green stars comes first in the sentence, that means that red must come second in the sentence. So it comes second in your ratio sentence. So, but 4 to 6 is not in there. So something that should alert you is like, oh, wait a second. These are both even numbers. I can totally divide them both by 2. That'll give me a simplified 1. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now this is as simple as it goes. So one of the ways that you can write that ratio of green stars to red stars is in a 2 to 3 ratio. I think I've said this in the live classes if you haven't watched them, but math people are super lazy, so we would rather write this kind of sentence than a full sentence. All right, I'm going to do another example for this one, and this is going to be, I don't remember what number this is because mine don't have numbers, but I'll explain it anyway. I'm sure you can find it. So in this example, it says the ratio of boys to girls. So because boys comes first in um, my ratio, I know that boys is going to be the first number. My ratio of boys to girls at the park is 4 to 5. So that means for every 4 boys, there are 5 girls. How many boys are at the park if there are 45 girls? So it wants a new ratio. So down here, it says, okay, well, how much would it be if there were now 45 girls? Remember, the girls are staying on the same side. So this is when you have to go ahead and figure out what you're doing, what happened. So let's figure out what happened. Well, how in the world did I get from 5 to 45? So once you sit and figure that out, you're like, oh, okay, 5 times 9 is 45. So that must mean that if that multiplied by 9, this does as well. So then you would be looking at 36 boys for every 45 girls. You just kind of have to figure it out. Unit rates is going to be very similar, but once you write down your ratio, the hardest part is just figuring this part out. What in the world happened? But if you line them up and organize them, it should help you with this. So I hope this was helpful. Feel free to pause and rewind and however many times you need to watch it.